Okay, so we're almost there. Um, this is step 7 where I give where we go over all of the vowel sounds. And then we'll be writing words. And this is what the document looks like, but you can have any piece of paper that you have, and that would be fine. So first I'm going to ask you to say eh. Good. So what letter makes the eh sound? Yes. And then so now we're going to write the letter on our palm as you name it. So that the letter is E. So let's write that on our palm. And then now we're going to write the letter E on our paper. So where it says number 1 and sounds, you can write the letter E. So you don't have to have this paper. It's just guidance to keep it organized. So yes, so you would write that letter E in the number 1 space. And then what sound does that make? Good. Okay, so now I'm going to give you the sound, and you're going to say the letter that makes that sound as you're writing it in your palm, and then you're going to write that letter in the next blank. So for example, I'm going to ask you which letter says eh, and you'll say E because we just did that. And we say E while we write it in our palm, and then we say E and we write it on the paper. Okay, so for the next one, what letter says Okay, so you should have said the letter U and then written the letter U in the number 2 blank. And then what says eh? That's right. That's the letter E we will trace in our palm and then write on the next blank. What says I? And what letter says uh? And which letter says eh? And then which letter says ah? Okay, very good. So we're going to put our pencils down, and I'm going to ask you again to say that keyword bed. So what's the first sound you hear in bed? Yes. And then say bed and tell me what vowel sound you hear in that word bed. Okay, say bed again, and then tell me what is the last sound you hear in that word bed. Okay, so we'll say bed one more time. And then instead of b, we're going to say Good. So our word should be red. Okay, so now we'll go back to this paper, and we're going to say bed. So then let's spell bed together. So on that first blank, you should have written the letter E. This sounds like eh. So right next to it on that number 1, you can write, say the word bed and write those letters in your palm with your finger as you're saying it. So b, ed. And now take your pencil and write that word bed onto the paper, naming the letters as you write them. Okay, and if you have written that word bed, go back and underline the vowel. And then we'll say again what the vowel's name is. And then what sound does vowel E make? Good. So now go to the beginning of the word and sound out each letter and glide your finger underneath it, saying it fast. Okay, so we're going to repeat that with some other words, but we won't go quite as slowly with that because I know you guys are very familiar with this. So they're actually called unknown vocabulary words, but I think you guys can do it. So the first word will be red, and you would write it in the palm of your hand and then name each letter as you write it on the paper. Remember, you can pause me with the space bar anytime. The next word is set. Men. Pet. Tin. Met. Ten. Tent. And wet. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at our last item here, which is the sentence dictation. And so I'm going to say some sentences, and each time you hear a word in the sentence, I would just make a dash on the paper each time you hear a word, and then that will help you figure out and recall the sentence to go ahead and write those words on each of the dashes. So it would almost be like writing little underlines and then putting the words on top. So I'm going to say a sentence, which is, the red hen is a pet. So you should have 6 dashes. And now I'm going to say this sentence, and there's going to be one word on each dash. So then I'll say the sentence again, giving you time to write the words as I say it. And then you should look at the dashes and say the sentence. Point to each dash as you say a word. And then we're going to write the sentence on your paper one word on each dash. So then you can put your pencil down when you finish and go back and check the sentence. If you make a mistake, do not erase it. Put brackets around the mistake so that way you can have help correcting it with the word above. Okay, so you may need help with this to have an adult check it. But I will go ahead and read the sentence out loud now because there's no students here with me. So I have just one sentence. So I have this paper up here. You obviously do not need all of those spaces. You can write it on any paper that you want. So here we go. The sentence is, Ned can get wet. So who knows how many dashes did you wind up with? With Ned can get wet. You should have 4 dashes. Okay, now since we're all not here together, another modification I'm going to make is read the sentence again. Then we'll read each word and we'll say which words have that our new vowel in it. And then we'll just circle or underline the vowel, whichever is easiest. Okay, so I'll read the sentence again. Ned can get wet. Okay, so that first word, Ned, does that have the short E sound? Yes, it does. It's exactly like bed, but instead of the B sound at the beginning, it has a N sound. So, that would be easy for you to write. You would just replace the B with the N and then have our 2 letters that say ed. What about the word can? Does that have the eh sound? No, it doesn't. So we can just write that word, can. And then the next word is get. Does that have the eh sound? Okay, so we have to tap that out. Get has 3 letters. We know that the eh sound is in the middle. We need to know the beginning sound and the end sound of get. And then our last sound word is wet. So does that have the eh sound? It does. So now we know that that's in the middle. We have to determine what is the beginning sound and the end sound. And then we spell wet. Okay, awesome job, you guys. I'm going to find a different video recording software so that we can have our whole lesson in one. But it is kind of nice because now you can decide, okay, I'm going to take a break after the first video, after the second video, and then finish later on another day, maybe the last video. So you guys are doing great. I'm very, very proud of all of you, and I will see you soon.